All right, let's get right into it. I want you to think about the one thing you're probably touching this very second, your keyboard. And if it's that flimsy plastic rectangle that came free with your computer, oh, we need to have a serious talk. We really do. I'm just gonna say it, that mushy keyboard where every key press feels like you're pushing your finger into a bowl of cold oatmeal is a huge mistake. If you spend hours a day typing, coding, or gaming, you are not just holding yourself back, you're basically living in the dark ages of computer hardware. And honestly, it's kind of sad. But don't you worry, I am here to pull you into the light. Welcome, my friend, to the glorious, super tactile, and just infinitely better world of mechanical keyboards. It will change your life.
Here we go again. You mean that absolutely ridiculous, expensive, hipster trend where people spend hundreds of dollars just to make their typing sound like what was it? A creamy rainstorm. Yeah, no thanks. I'm going to stick with my keyboard that, just works.
Just works is not an acceptable standard for greatness. Okay, you know what? Fine. Before I completely dismantle your argument, let's break down the absolute basics for everyone listening. Let's compare the fundamental difference between my precision instrument and, well, that plastic lunch tray you're defending. Okay, look, it's simple. A membrane keyboard, the kind that literally 99% of the planet uses, has this one single sheet of rubber inside. You press a key, it squishes down on a little rubber dome, a letter appears on the screen. It's practical, it's cheap, it's quiet, it works. The end. What else could you possibly need? Everything. You need everything else because a mechanical keyboard isn't one big mushy sheet. Every single key has its own dedicated, spring-loaded mechanical switch sitting right underneath it. It's actual precision engineering, not some squishy kid's toy. All right, let's just look at the chart. Under feel, yours says tactile and responsive, mine says soft and mushy. You say tactile, I say loud and annoying. That's just, your opinion. Durability, okay, fine, I'll give you that one. But then look at sound and cost. Your side says loud and satisfying and expensive. My side says quiet and affordable. For anyone who works in an office or, doesn't want to light their money on fire, the case is closed. Satisfying is the entire point. It's an investment in the quality of your day, not just another office supply. And speaking of investment, let's talk about that durability. This number says it all. Your typical membrane keyboard is rated for what? Maybe 5 million presses? A standard mechanical switch is rated for at least 50 million. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between a disposable piece of plastic and something you could pass down to your kids. This keyboard will probably outlive your computer. And this isn't just about it lasting forever. It's about actual performance. Because mechanical switches activate halfway down, you don't have to slam the key all the way to the bottom. Your fingers can literally float across the board. After I switched, my own typing speed jumped from about 110 to 140 words per minute. That's a real, measurable boost. Gamers get quicker reactions, programmers get more accuracy. It just makes you better at what you do. Oh, come on. Hitting 140 words per minute is not normal. And for the rest of us normal people, there are amazing keyboards like the Logitech MX keys. They're low profile, the keys are stable and accurate, they're dead silent, and they look professional. They are perfect for an office. And you don't have to spend 2 weeks getting used to it just to stop driving your coworkers insane. And that brings me to the single most absurd part of this so-called hobby. It's not even about the feel anymore. It's this weird cult-like obsession with how the keyboard sounds. It's not an obsession, it's an art form. It's about acoustics. Okay, so here's the deal. The whole community is basically chasing the perfect sound profile. See, you don't want a high-pitched, tinny, annoying clack. No. You want a deep, resonant thock. The perfect sound is, it's rich, it's full-bodied. You could even say it's creamy. Creamy? You were talking about a keyboard. It sounds like you're describing a gourmet soup. That is just ridiculous. And just look at the insane lengths people go to for this creamy sound. They buy special foam to stuff inside the case. They put painter's tape on the circuit board. And my absolute favorite, they take apart every single one of the 80-something switches and lube the tiny internal plastic parts with a tiny little paintbrush. A paintbrush! Who has the time for this stuff? It's all about finding what's perfect for you. If you want a perfectly smooth, consistent press from top to bottom with no bump, you get a linear switch. If you want a quiet little physical bump you can feel right at the moment the key registers, that's tactile. And if you want that bump and a loud, audible click like an old-school typewriter, you get a clicky switch. There's a perfect match for everyone's preference. Right, which leads to another completely insane thing. You can't just pick one. Oh, of course not. You first have to buy a switch tester. It's a little plastic block with like a dozen different switches on it, so you can sit there and click, click, click away like a weirdo to figure out which one you like best. You have to do homework and buy a sampler platter before you can even get the main course. That's called being an informed consumer. No, that's called falling down an endless and very expensive rabbit hole. Which brings us to our final and most important round, the money.
Let's just look at this chart for a second. Your standard office keyboard, maybe $15. Your gateway mechanical board, as you call them, that'll set you back around $90. But these custom builds that people get obsessed with, $500, $1,000, it's madness. For a keyboard, you're thinking about it like a consumer, not a creator. People don't spend that on a keyboard. They spend it on a hobby. It's about the experience of building and customizing a tool that is absolutely perfect for you.
It's not a tool, it's an addiction. And there's a very clear path. Stage 1, you buy a gateway board, like a Keychron. Seems innocent enough. Stage 2, you order that ridiculous switch tester. Stage 3, you somehow lose an entire weekend to a tiny paintbrush and a little jar of lubricant. And then you hit stage 4, you look up and realize you own more keyboards than you do pairs of shoes.
I don't see the problem. That sounds like a very productive weekend to me.
You're totally missing the best part. It's a creative outlet. It's a way to express yourself. You can customize everything, especially the keycaps. You can get sets in literally any color you can imagine. You can go online and find handmade artisan keycaps shaped like little cat paws or cool monsters, or even the Eye of Sauron. It makes your desk setup uniquely yours. Okay, but is it a hobby or is it a financial black hole? It starts with one keyboard. Then you think, ooh, I need some new keycaps. Then you decide you want to try different switches. And before you know it, you're in a group buy for a keyboard that won't even show up for 9 months, and you spent more on it than you did on your phone. It is a money pit, plain and simple. It's only a money pit if you have zero self-control. For the rest of us, it is a very worthwhile pursuit. All right, I think we've laid it all out there. It's time for the final verdict. Let's make our closing arguments. Look, my argument is simple. A mechanical keyboard is an investment in the single most important tool on your desk. It improves your speed, it improves your accuracy, and honestly, it just improves your overall enjoyment of the time you spent at your computer. It's about making a mundane task into something deeply satisfying.
And my argument is all about sensible practicality. A really good membrane or low-profile keyboard is way cheaper, it's significantly quieter for an office or a dorm, and it is perfectly fine for 99% of what people do. It's a solved problem that doesn't require taking out a small loan.
You know, this quote right here just sums it all up perfectly. For so many of us, our keyboard is this essential tool we use every single day for hours and hours. So why wouldn't you want to get something that makes that whole experience better? Turning a boring tool into something that's genuinely enjoyable to use, I think that's a worthy goal. So we've both made our cases. And yeah, we're clearly not going to agree on this one, which means ultimately it's up to you. So go ahead right now. I want you to look down at the keyboard sitting in front of you. Really, really look at it. And then you have to ask yourself, is it time for an upgrade? The choice is yours.